Sure. I think being born in Manila and sort of growing up around Filipino culture, like one of our traditions is like playing karaoke all the time. So I think I grew up as just like such a entertainer, and I just love to sing and make people laugh. And we sort of there's lots of gayness in Filipino
Yeah.
culture, I think, that we just like to be really flamboyant. Um, but I think also when I grew up in Canada, that sort of gave me maybe a bit more of the independence. Because I think if I grew up in the Philippines, I probably would have um, been more on a straight and narrow path with pursuing math and like getting more of a traditional job. I think the thing with being in Canada is we can sort of create our own jobs and we can have a lot of these non-traditional jobs. I think um, math has always been something that's close to my heart because my dad was an engineer and I went to school thinking, oh, maybe I'll become an engineer too, maybe I'll become a scientist. But I was able to sort of fuse those two passions together since um, I had a YouTube channel and I sort of had this social media career that started out as a hobby, but I was able to make it a full-time income, which I'm thankful for. And I think that um, happened because growing up in Canada, I went to schools that were very progressive and they did sort of nurture that gayness in me and that flamboyance and my creativity. So I think that's sort of that mix there. Sure, Math and Drag is just what it sounds like. It's a math book, um, and it tells math lessons and math riddles, but using anecdotes of drag. So it's not a math textbook. It's not like something you'd study along with in school. It's something that's meant to be for just an average person reading it. You don't need a math degree. You don't need to be in a school to sort of understand it. It talks about ideas like infinity and calculus and probability and statistics and sort of these um, math subjects that we learn something about in school, but maybe we're not experts on. And it takes those subjects and just shines another light on it so that you can read it and walk away thinking, okay, now I think I really know what probability is all about. Now I sort of understand what statistics is all about. And I explain those using anecdotes of drag and queerness and pageantry and my life. So it's a little bit of a memoir, it's a little bit of a queer manifesto, and it's a little bit of math education. And the sort of central message of the book is that drag and math are a lot, they have a lot more in common than we'd like to think. We like to think that they're so opposite. And I think me doing the drag and math videos, everyone was saying, oh my gosh, like this is such a niche overlap that I never would have expected because we think of drag as something as it's so creative. It's all about it's very punk. It's like saying that we are breaking all of the rules, whereas math we think of is nothing but rules. And so the book talks about how there's actually a lot of overlap there. Well, I never thought that I would write a book, but somebody reached out to me from Johns Hopkins University Press um, shortly after my videos on TikTok started going viral, and they asked me if I'd ever be interested in writing a book. Um, and I definitely didn't think that it was in the cards for me because I didn't think that I could be an author, but they sort of held my hand through the whole thing and showed me, okay, like you can do it. You just have to sort of write out what's like the outline of what you want to talk about, what are the chapters, and then just start writing them like your TikToks. So each chapter is sort of like one of my little 60-second TikTok or reels, except it just is a lot longer. Um, I think really the answer is that it was the pandemic. I think by that point, I'd started making beauty videos on YouTube in 2013. So this will be like my 10th year now from starting my YouTube channel. And I think I reached a point where I was feeling a little bit burnt out. I was feeling like I had been doing the same kind of tutorials over and over. And I sort of just wanted to try something fresh. And when TikTok blew up or the pandemic, um, I just wanted to try something different. So I started a new account. I didn't have any followers. I didn't, um, nobody had any expectations for me. So that's sort of why I felt like, okay, maybe now I can try something completely different from what people are expecting. And I started doing math videos, which I always kind of wanted to do because I mean, I love math and I wanted to share that on YouTube. But I think my YouTube audience didn't really want to see those videos from me. So I think doing the videos on a totally different platform is what allowed me sort of to blow up for it, because people had no idea what to expect and people really loved it. So after like the first 4 or 5 videos, when people really reacted positively to it, that's when I was like, all right, like if you like that, then I have more where that came from. I mean, from the beginning, I've gotten so many great messages from students, teachers, past students who have said, you know, I'm not a math person, I don't love math, but your videos have really changed my mind on what math is and what math can be. So that's just been the best thing. I think a few years ago, I got a letter from someone. It was actually from someone's dad, because this kid was like maybe like 7 or 8 years old.
Oh.
And their dad wrote, oh my gosh, like my child is such a fan of your work. Like you've gotten them so interested in math. And that was like just like the best feeling. I also love hearing from teachers that say they play my videos in classrooms. Because I remember being a kid and the teacher like rolling in the big TV on the wheel, like playing like Bill Nye the Science Guy. So to think now that I'm the person on the screen, me and my like crazy wigs, is just really funny to me, and I love it. I really just try to not look at it. I mean, I've developed somewhat of a thick skin, but let's be honest, like it still does get to me sometimes when I do get like the negative feedback and the hate mail. So I try to really just close my eyes to it. If it means like turning off comments or just like not looking at the comment section of a video that has like made it out to the wrong side of the internet.
Yeah.
I think probably after doing Canada's Drag Race was when I started really to learn about like, okay, I can just disable the comments here if I don't want people to ruin my vibe. I don't think that I should have to look at all the comments, you know, because what other people think about me is none of my business. Oh gosh, it's hard because as you say, I've done so many videos at this point. It's usually the videos that are top of mind are the ones I've done recently. I recently did a video about the Pacific Ring of Fire, which was inspired by a hike that I did in Guatemala. So that one's pretty top of mind. I like doing any kind of videos where I really link different ideas from different subjects where you wouldn't think that there's links there. So that one was fun because I started off talking about this hike I did, and then I talk about like plate tectonics. I really just look for inspiration everywhere. You know, it's funny because in the beginning I used to have so many ideas in my head from stuff that I learned in university, and then after maybe the first year or so, I started running out of examples that I learned from school. So I had to sort of just look in real life and think, you know, while I'm driving down the street, I see a speed limit sign and think, okay, what kind of riddle can I make out of that? Or as I'm on a hike, I'm thinking, okay, like what can I talk about here that's interesting? I really just look everywhere for inspiration. Sometimes I'll get ideas from my followers who will comment and say, hey, Kyne, I wish you would do a video on this. Or I'll read a book and get some great ideas. So I really just look everywhere for it. I'm inspired by a lot of people. I think maybe this is like such a typical answer, but I'm very inspired by RuPaul, especially in the beginning of my drag career, just sort of seeing her trajectory in the way that she carries herself as just such a glamazon, with being so professional is very inspiring to me. I'm also inspired by lots of mathy people on the internet. Like Numberphile was like the first like popular math channel that got big on YouTube. So I'm always looking up to sort of my peers who are making math videos and sharing and getting. I think it's crucial because when I was a kid, I didn't know that I could have this sort of career. I used to think that if I wanted to be a scientist, that I had to not be gay, that I had to sort of hide my flamboyance and hide my femininity so that I could be taken seriously. And I really just want to send a message that you don't have to do that. And I want other young people to know that you can be gay and you can be in STEM, you can be queer, and you can look however you want to look. If you want to be a drag queen, if you want to dye your hair green, it really doesn't matter because this is a subject where all that matters is what's in your brain and what you can do. So I think we should all be able to express ourselves however we want. I would say just go for it and don't be afraid and don't feel like you have to hide yourself because we need more representation and we need you to be who you are, and we need more diverse perspectives in this world, especially when you look at things like AI and see how AI is changing the world. And AI is just based on data sets made by humans. And the AI is going to be biased if those data sets are biased. So we need more diverse representation among the people who are coding these things and among the people who are creating these medical studies or these mathematical studies. So I say just go for it and be yourself. And if you don't see a career that fits you, if you don't see someone out there that's like you, then you have to go out there and do it, and you have to blaze the path and create your own career.